as a monkey. Hello and welcome to round 7 of Grand Prix Kansas City. I'm Ben Swartz, joined here in the booth by Marshall Sutcliffe, and we've got quite the match for you. Luis Scott Vargas on the left-hand side of your screen, facing off against Shenhar on the right-hand side of your screen.
Sweet start for Luis. He's had a Deathrite Shaman right into a Voice of Resurgence. Shenhar is going to play an untapped Steam Vents here, and he's going to throw down a Sakura Tribe Elder. Usually Sakura Tribe Elder against creature decks does the old block and chump.
And that's probably what we're going to see it do here. Yep, and Shahar's going to go find another land. Shenhar on Valakut, a deck we saw Ben Stark play a couple rounds earlier. The idea with this deck is to get out a bunch of lands, preferably 7, and then cast Scape Shift, find 6 mountains, 1 Valakut, deal opponent 18 damage. Presumably they've lost some life. But and Luis Scott Vargas here on Melirapod, you see a pair of Voice Resurgences. Pretty powerful card. Sam Party, who won the previous Modern Grand Prix, claimed that it was the best card in his deck.
He loved it. He said it was a great addition to the deck. That was the first time that it had been legal for Modern, the first big Modern tournament, and it immediately just won its first tournament. And Luis also has an additional mana from Deathrite Shaman along with his Razorverge Thicket, and that's going to allow him to cast a sack outlet in the form of Aristocrat there. All right, so let's see what Shenhar can do to help combat. It looks like he's going to kick things off with a Farseek. He hasn't played a land yet for the turn, but I see that he's got another Steam Vents in hand, so he can do it.
Yeah, but he's facing down a ton of pressure here, right?
He really is. And
if he has a Pyroclasm here, that'd be perfect. But I don't think he does.
Does he have any in the main here?
He's Fire Spout and no Pyroclasm.
2 Fire Spouts, though. That's a big one here.
But another Sakura Tribe Elder. He's getting close to the magic 7 number, although Luis is at 19 life.
Which is really interesting because the difference between 19 and 18 in this situation is huge.
And Luis can gain life from his Deathrite Shaman.
That's true. Because there's a Sakura Tribe Elder in the graveyard there too. So again, if Luis is stuck at 18 or below, then that means that Shenhar can go off when he hits 7, but 7 lands. But if Luis is above, he has to either wait another turn or it'll take another turn to kill Luis. So here comes Luis attacking with all 3 of his 2/2s.
Shenhar's going to chump block here again, crack his Sakura Tribe Elder, and go find a land number 6. An island here. Does Luis have something else up his sleeve? Just a forest and say go. I think he's got a Court of Calling in his hand.
Okay, what we've talked about for this deck throughout the course of the times we've seen it this weekend already is the ability that it has to be a combo deck, but also just to be a good creature deck. And we're seeing that second side of it here from Luis. He's just casting creatures and attacking with them, right? I mean, that is absolutely doing the job here against Shenhar as the board sits, though Luis is going to be susceptible to mounting pressure here as Shenhar builds up his land drops. We see he's already got the Scape Shift in his hand, so he has that part, but he does not have a land drop for the turn. He does have a Fire Spout and a Farseek.
Doesn't do all that much, right? Like,
no.
Luis can sacrifice Deathrite Shaman to Cartel Aristocrat, get it pro red or pro green.
Yep.
And then the 2 Voice Resurgence become 3/3s.
Yeah. And he's attacking for 8 the next turn.
Yeah. I mean, it's 1 short of being able to win because Luis can remove that Farseek and put Shenhar down to 9.
That's right.
But if then Luis has any creature, he wins.
Yes. These are the things that Shenhar are going through Shahar's mind as he tries to plan this out. And again, it highlights the power of Voice of Resurgence. I mean, normally a card like Fire Spout here would be amazing. It would wipe away all of Luis's creatures, but Voice of Resurgence prevents that. And look, Shahar's got a dig. He found a Cryptic Command, which is exactly what he was looking for. That is going to keep Luis Scott Vargas from comboing off.
That might do it.
And it might just be the game, but Shenhar does need to hit land drops because this prevents him from playing that Farseek this turn, right?
Yes.
He can't cast it and cast it Cryptic, so he still is up against it in a small way here.
So Luis is going to drain Shenhar for 2, dropping him down to 9 life.
And remember, Luis is at 19 as well. So Shenhar's not out of the woods yet by any stretch here. There's a Revel Arc there for Luis Scott Vargas, another form of redundancy for him. And Shenhar is going to go ahead and use that cryptic command right now. And that's going to give Luis Scott Vargas 2 elementals from those Voice of Resurgences. And if it wasn't lethal before, it's getting pretty darn close for the next turn. Now, Luis is taking a look. The fact that he hasn't just auto-tapped all of his guys already should definitely signal to Shenhar that he could have Corda calling, right?
Yeah. Which Luis does have here, right? But what would he want to go get? That would be good, right? He could get...
Luis is thinking that through as we speak. You know, these...
Nothing... It's not like he can combo off right here, Luis, that is. But he could go get, like, I don't know, Red Cap, maybe?
See, Luis has gone a little deep here. I like this one.
Varolz?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was actually talking to him about it this morning, getting coffee.
Another sack outlet?
Yeah, he likes Varolz plus Cartel Aristocrat. They get much better than Viscerous here. Or, he had for a long time Death Throne Vampire, the Nantuku Husk. Because he could, like, just kill the opponent.
Blood Throne Vampire?
Blood Throne Vampire.
Yeah,
But he switched that out for Cartel Aristocrat because Cartel Aristocrat works so much better with Varolz.
All right, so he's going to start by using his Deathrite Shaman to exile the Farseek there.
And then he's going to cast Corda Calling for 3.
So he's got an idea for what he wants here. Here's Cord. So this is going to let him tutor up something.
Eternal Witness?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That could definitely be the case.
13.
That's going to get Corda Calling.
Now this is all with Cryptic Command on the stack, so that Eternal Witness will also be tapped.
Yep.
All right, Lightning Bolt for Shenhar. Unfortunately...
Oh, that land is pretty key here.
Yeah, he did hit a land, but Luis is sitting at 19.
But he can play that land and then play Search for Tomorrow to get a land untapped, and then cast Scape Shift for 8 lands.
And then can he use Lightning Bolt? Oh, for just 8 lands straight up? All right. I mean, because this Search for is going to give him his 7th land, right? And then he hit this land drop for the turn. Okay. Great. So it looks good for Shenhar here.
21 damage that he can deal if he has the right number of mountains left, which it looks like he does. So he's not going to waste any time here. He's going to play Stomping Grounds untapped.
He knows he's under no threat of death here.
Yeah, and this will allow him to float a red mana and Lightning Bolt if Luis has anything up his sleeve here. So he's going to float a red mana, cast Scape Shift, sacrificing all 8 lands. And
if he's worried about mountains, he can leave 1 mountain on the battlefield and use that floating red for the bolt to get the last 3 if he's worried about not getting to critical mass here.
Yeah, it looks like he's got 2 for...
He must have done all 8 here.
8, yeah.
So there's a couple. There's Valakut. There's another one. There's another Valakut. There's another. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there it is, 6 for the lethal. Luis Scott Vargas scoops up his permanents as Shenhar goes up a game to 0 against LSV. Close one.
Yeah.
But that Peer Through Depths, finding the Cryptic Command, was exactly what Shenhar needed to just barely be able to go off that turn. He needed to draw that land as well. But he got a draw step from his turn and also one from the Cryptic. So.
Yeah, pretty exciting match. Looks like we won't be able to bring you any rusty Kubis, but we will be able to bring you guys Worlds Week coming up starting July 31st, going all the way through August 3rd. That's in Amsterdam.
Yes.
The finals of the World Magic Cup and the World Championship will all be brought to you that week and on Sunday. So
all of it.
All of it.
Yeah, the World Magic Cup and the World Championship. It's going to be amazing.
And the finals of both of them will be on Sunday the 4th.
Yes.
Although it's Amsterdam time. But that's going to be an exciting thing. You can watch all the action live on twitch.tv/magic and follow it via text on dailymtg.com.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but there's going to be a window like it was last year on my work computer with a little Twitch window watching the coverage. Hopefully,
I'm also going to be watching it on a monitor.
Hopefully nobody at work is going to be angry.
It'll be in the coverage booth because I'm going to be there covering it.
But definitely very exciting. Make sure you guys block out those dates at work. You know, take off work if you have to. Anything, just watch it. It's going to be the best week of Magic.
It is going to be amazing, and I'm not the only one who's going to be there covering it. One of the gentlemen that we're watching play here is also going to be there.
Luis Scott Vargas is going to be.
For the whole week he's going to be there. So, you know, he's very, very popular when we get him in the booth at the Pro Tours. If he, you know, had a bad weekend and doesn't make it to the top 8, and we get him in the booth, you know, he's just great in there, having tested all the matchups, having such an intricate knowledge of all the decks and how each of them works. He can lend us that knowledge for the coverage team, and he's going to be doing that while we're in Amsterdam.
And don't forget, the weekend before that, there's going to be Grand Prix Rimini coverage, also at twitch.tv/magic. So that's going to be a nice long little stretch of coverage. There'll also be Grand Prix Calgary, so if you're in the neighborhood, go check out Grand Prix Calgary. There'll also be some text coverage of that event.
That's right. All right, players still doing the sideboard thing here. I wonder if we have an update on the Rusty and Joe.
They're going to their second game, it looks like.
Looks like Joe's up a game on that side of things.
We know what Joe Demestrio is playing. Looks like he is playing a Jund deck with white. Yeah.
Good old Jund, it looks like.
With white, I think.
Yeah, no, it is. There's Lingering Souls. Yeah. Johnny Vengeance. This is old Jund now. We've moved along.
Okay, and a little action has started on the Rusty Kubis versus Joe Demestrio match. Joe starts things off with a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman, and end of turn Rusty Kubis is going to crack his Scalding Tarn. Go find a breeding pool. Rusty on a similar Scape Shift deck to what we see Shenhar playing over on the other match.
That's right.
He does have Prismatic Omen and Primeval Titan in his list.
Yeah, his deck is the other end of the spectrum as far as Scape Shift decks go.
Ooh,
and we're going to get a look at his hand here thanks to Thoughtseize, unless it gets remanded or something.
Well, Rusty's thinking he does have a remand. He also has an image.
Izzet Charm, yeah. Izzet Charm seems pretty sweet here, as if he remands and Joe goes land, do it again.
Yeah.
That's not great for him.
Depends what other cards are in his hand.
Yeah.
But
Rusty deep in the tank here.
Gonna crack that fetch land and probably go find a Steam Fence.
Mm-hmm.
Or a Stomping Ground. Stomping Ground it is. He'll go to 16 life. And Izzet Charm.
I like that play.
It's interesting to note that Rusty did not cast his Sakura Tribe Elder, but so I think we're going to head back to our other match, Luis Scott Vargas versus Shenhar.
And it looks like Luis had a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman followed by a turn 2 Kitchen Finks here. Probably a fetch land off screen that's been exiled. Search for Tomorrow, though, for Shenhar, followed up by a Farseek.
It's going to give him a nice little acceleration.
His MO is to get lands onto the battlefield. That's his #1 goal, and he's doing that on multiple levels here. Get a quick look at his hand. He's got another Search for Tomorrow as well. So things looking pretty good for Shenhar as far as executing his game plan.
Especially in this game where Shenhar needs to be able to get to 8 lands because Luis is already at 21 life.
There you go.
Okay. So, Luis casts Malira and passes it back to Shenhar, holding 1 mana up.
Man, Shenhar has nothing, but he's got another Search for Tomorrow and another Farseek in his hand as well.
He does have a Shadow of Doubt, though.
I see a Fire Spout that he's really going to want to cast this turn, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll shrink down that Kitchen Finks. It will, right? and then he'll get rid of the Deathrite Shaman and Melira.
Yep, they'll all go to the graveyard, and then Kitchen Finks will trigger.
Okay. And there's an Izzet Charm as well for Shahar Shenhar. A lot of options here.
Maybe if you're Shahar here, you just want to cast Search for Tomorrow, and then Izzet Charm the Melira?
You could do that too.
Looks like that's what he's going to try doing. Although he did tap incorrectly, or a little incorrectly if you wanted to do that. So
yeah, so he can't do that now. He might just have, he hasn't played a land for the turn yet though, right?
No, he hasn't.
He could just play a red source.
But maybe he's just passing the turn back to Luis?
I mean, that feels kind of risky.
Yeah. Yeah, just passes it back to Luis, holding up Shadow of Doubt.
Shadow of Doubt, huh? Because there's a Viscera Seer right there for Luis, so now he can just go off. He can gain arbitrarily large amount of life.
Well, there's a remand also in Shahar's hand. He can remand that Viscera Seer back.
But if Luis has a fetch land or a black mana source, and he can do it, but he doesn't, and Luis Scott Vargas wins that game.
Wow.
Okay.
And maybe we can get a look at our other game, a sneak peek.
Shahar Shenhar and Luis Scott Vargas are evened up at a game apiece there. And we're going to get a game 3 out of these two top-level pros. Both platinum.
Yeah. Is Shahar platinum?
I don't know. He was last year. I'm not sure if he made it this year. I just always assume he is. He is platinum, confirmo.
Okay. Well, we're back to the Rusty Kubis Joe Demestrio match.
All right, so Rusty has been able here to get a bunch of lands on the battlefield, which really is what he wants to do.
He's up to 5 mountains. That means
he is.
Or could be 5 mountains with the Sakura Tribe Elder Sack. Yep.
And there's another one. Now, yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Rusty's deck is different than the one that we just saw from Shahar, in that Rusty's deck has a lot more mountains. It has more redundancy as far as that goes, because he's not worried about casting things like Cryptic Command, for example.
Looks like he drew a Steam Vents for the turn, so that's going to be 3 damage.
So he can take down that Deathrite Shaman if he wants. Rusty's still at a good life total, so he's maneuvered nicely here, and he's in a good position. Rusty has a lot of great top decks here.
It's going to deal 3 to the Tarmogoyf.
All right. Looks like he's more worried about the Goyf. Oh, and there's a Pyroclasm to finish off the Goyf and kill the Deathrite Shaman.
So sweep your board.
Wow. Rusty putting in work. He's down to 1 card. You know, now he has a lot of sweet top decks, though. Any Scapeshift, any...
Prismatic Omen's good, too.
Prismatic Omen would be good, too, but he's got active
Primeval Titan.
But Primeval Titan's the one that he'd love to see here as well. That finished the game very quickly, as Joe Demestrio just has to pass the turn back. There's a remand for Rusty, and he just says go. He's got a couple of mountains in hand, I believe.
Yeah, he's waiting because he wants to get another Valakut out.
Yeah, what
is that a Primeval Titan?
It looked like a Primeval Titan.
If it is, then he goes and gets 2 more Valakuts.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh,
Obstinate Baloth.
That's good, too.
A perfectly fine draw. It's going to apply pressure to Joe Demestrio, and it's going to keep Rusty's life total bolstered long enough for him to find the really much, much more powerful spells that he has lurking around in his deck. Now, a lot of them aren't. All right, Path to Exile, go get a mountain?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, he can also just whittle down Joe's life total by just good old-fashioned playing lands.
Yeah.
Valakut. And that's going to drop him down to 12.
And now does Rusty...
Just 4 activations away.
He's going to play a Forest here, pass it back.
Yeah, Rusty's got to be careful just because of Liliana.
Yeah.
Easy, Rusty. It's just a draw step, buddy. All right, that's an interesting draw as well.
Is it Charm?
Yeah. You know, if he holds those lands in his hand, he can dig through his deck with it.
He's got a Pyroclasm in hand. He could readily discard. So he's going to draw 2, a Search for Tomorrow, and a Primeval Titan.
There it is. So Rusty Kubis looking to be in good position.
So he's going to discard 2 cards.
And I couldn't quite see what he discarded, but you see him pull that Cavern up to the front. Undoubtedly his name Giant here. And there's 6 mana using the Cavern. You see Rusty points it out. And a casual finger flick from Joe.
Well, this is
he's got to
right
be
here,
bummed.
right? Rusty goes and gets a Valakut and Mountain, or double Valakut, and then
he's got a Mountain in his hand.
Oh, he needed to get Valakut Mountain there.
How come?
Because if he gets Valakut Mountain.
But I think he's got. Can he play a land from his hand?
Right, that's only 9 damage. Joe's at 12.
Okay.
If Rusty gets Valakut Mountain there, then he burns Joe for 6.
Yeah, and then he plays another Mountain. Oh wait, but there's a Path to Exile is going to get a Mountain and another Mountain.
No, it got an island.
Oh, it got an
Path
island.
to Exile.
Okay.
So Joe goes down to 3.
So any Mountain for Rusty, and he can finish off here. And that could be different unless he...
Remand on the Deathrite Shaman. That'll draw Rusty a card. Deathrite Shaman will get recast. Now
Rusty's digging. There it is.
Scalding Tarn.
Scalding Tarn, sure.
Go get
Find
Steam
any
Fence.
Mountain, and there it is. Do it to you. And Rusty Kubis equalizes here. Both of them at a game apiece, so we're getting 2 game 3s in the feature.
Yeah, and we can go directly back to our game 3 between Shahar Shenhar and Luis Scott Vargas.
And it looks like similar to what we saw before, which is a Thoughtseize. And interestingly, Luis decides not to replay the Thoughtseize after it gets remanded. He's just going to follow up with the Voice of Resurgence here.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's great. If he would have, he could have tried to resolve either one, but let's see what Shahar comes up with here.
I think it's one of those things where Luis is, of the 2 alternatives, either having his Voice of Resurgence in his hand or his Thoughtseize in his hand, he'd rather have Voice of Resurgence on the table and then cast Thoughtseize the following turn. So Peer Through Depths. For Shahar, he's got the option of Fire Spout, or Peer Through Depths, or Search for Tomorrow.
We'll notice that he's peering on his turn here.
Yeah.
So that,
or he's peering in response to the Voice of Resurgence, right? No, on his turn.
It's on his turn, and he's trying to make sure that Voice of Resurgence doesn't go into making elementals mode.
And then he's going to play Stomping Grounds tapped or Fetch Land. Yep, Fetch Land, go. Thoughtseize comes down again for Luis.
Yeah, Shahar knew this was coming, so he knows one of these cards is going to get nailed.
Yeah.
And I think it's Snapcaster Mage, Fire Spout, Cryptic.
Yep,
and
are the
land.
3 possible things to take. What do you take here?
Well, the Fire Spout's the most obvious because it's 2 creatures, so yeah, that's what he ends up taking. But without knowing every card in Luis's hand, it's hard to say. There's different lines you could take there, but Fire Spout's kind of the big one. Shahar's going to crack that Misty Rainforest. Ooh, Aven Mind Sensor in response from Luis Scott Vargas. That's a mean one right there.
Wow.
Is he going to hit?
He does hit. It's still real brutal.
It's brutal, but he kind of got away with it. Now, as far as Scapeshift goes, though.
Yeah, Scapeshift is going to be a tougher sell. Because you can only get.
You put that very nicely.
You can only get 4 lands max.
Max. So he's got to find a way to kill that Aven Mind Sensor really before he attempts to go off. Remember, when you cast Scapeshift, you sacrifice any number of lands first.
Yeah.
So, it's like you really need to get rid of that Mind Sensor before you even try it.
Okay, back to Shahar's turn.
All right, they're just clearing up their life totals, but they've got it sorted. Wow, another Fire Spout there?
I mean, Sharp pretty much has to cast Fire Spout here, right?
Yeah, I mean, he just drew it. It was like the card that Luis just took away. It always feels like that with Thoughtseize, by the way. They take it and they just draw the exact card that they wanted anyway. All right, and Shahar looks to be in a very decent position here now with that Snapcaster Mage and a couple of Fire Spouts in the yard as well. He can, even if Luis rebuilds his board a bit here, Shahar can just Fire Spout again.
Yep.
And this time, since there's no Voice or Resurgence left, it will kill that token unless Luis just completely goes off with like Lingering Souls or something. Even then, it'll still kill it.
Oh, he's got Murderous Redcap.
And this is kind of the sad Murderous Redcap, right? It's going to just dome Shahar. We talked about this in an earlier match where, playing against Storm, this is what it used to do, and now it doesn't, and it's sad here against this combo deck.
But he still needs it in his deck for his own combo.
He does, and no really viable targets for that thing on Shahar's side of the board. I mean, he's got a Snapcaster Mage or something that he could kill, that Luis could kill with it, but it's not going to kill anything important. Sakura Tribe Elder is just going to get sacked, etc.
Okay, Cartel Aristocrat for Luis.
That one's a pain. You mentioned it earlier, and that one's going to be troublesome. All right, here's a Cryptic Command.
Yeah, counter that, draw a card. Shahar does not want that
Aristocrat. And he immediately draws into another Cryptic Command, just chaining them together.
And draws a Scapeshift. Wow. This game has been all over the place.
It has
First
been,
it looked like Shahar was winning, and then Luis, got the advantage.
I got to say, though, Shahar's been drawing quite nicely here, and he's looking to be in a pretty good position. Luis is down to 14. This time he's been a bit more aggressive with his lands, I think.
I mean, Shahar is at 8, though.
He is, and he's going to take 4 here if he doesn't use that Cryptic or do anything.
I think he just wins on his following turns.
I think so, too.
Doesn't really matter. Unless Luis has an Aven Mind Sensor.
So, is Shahar going to use this this Cryptic Command just to draw a card?
Yeah, he's going to bounce Luis's only white source and draw a card to make sure that Luis can't flash in an Aven Mind Sensor. And then Shahar's going to draw, play his land.
I love that play, by the way.
Yeah, and cast Scapeshift. Yep, and Luis says that's enough.
Luis sees the writing on the wall as Shahar flashes him the Scapeshift. And we're done here. Shahar Shenhar 6-1 now. Luis Scott Vargas still in it for day 2, still in it for a top 8 potentially, but now things get real tight for Luis.
Can't lose again.
He's one step closer to the barbecue dinner here.
Yeah, especially at the last Grand Prix Kansas City, he got 2nd place.
I wasn't here.
He lost to Yuya Watanabe in the finals.
No shame in that. All right, let's take a look at our other match here. Joe Demestrio with a Tarmogoyf. Unclear exactly how big it is, but it looks to be a 2-3 or a 3-4. Rusty has no permanents outside of lands on the battlefield. That's not.
Oh no, Luis won that event. Sorry.
Luis won that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was right before the Community Cup, wasn't it? Yes, yeah. I remember now. Anyway, Rusty's got just lands on the battlefield here, which isn't that uncommon for his deck, but he is facing one of the most efficient and ruthless Lurgoyfs ever printed. Beating down for, it looks like creature sorcery land, so for 3 damage. I'm pretty sure that's a Fulminator Mage in the bin there.
Yes. So it looked like what happened to that Fulminator Mage, right? It didn't take out a land.
It might have. Rusty's graveyard could be to the side there. And there's an Obstinate Baloth there for Rusty Kubis. That is going to be very nice to shore up the damage he's taken and to stabilize the board, as that Tarmogoyf is now outclassed by the 4-4. Now you got to figure that Joe's got answers here.
I mean,
Past
it's a
Exile,
Jund deck, right? So.
Yeah, I see that he's also got a
Liliana of the Veil.
Liliana of the Veil, maybe 2 of them in his hand. Paul Reach will come by, gives us a little funny face there. All right, Aven Mind Sensor on end step for Joe Demestrio as he goes to his draw step here. One of the great things about Aven Mind Sensor is that it only affects your opponents.
Yeah, and
so here it is,
Liliana
of the Veil, sacrifice a creature, Rusty. Rusty's going to be looking at taking 5 damage here.
That's huge.
This is a big one. This is going to be a big turn for Rusty. He needs to either move his game plan forward towards winning the very next turn, or he needs to help stabilize his board in some way if he's going to remain undefeated here in Kansas City.
He does have a couple of Pyroclasms.
Okay. That would put a sorcery in the yard. There was already one in there, though, thanks to Thoughtseize.
But now he's going to hold up mana for Remand instead.
Okay.
and have an extra card to discard.
Now, that would have killed Tarmogoyf there, right?
I believe so, unless we're missing some cards in the graveyard.
That could be. I think Rusty's graveyard might be slightly off camera, which is kind of ironic because he's the one who has to put it on camera for us all the time.
Thoughtseize targets Rusty.
Whoa, okay, there was a big graveyard there, so that Tarmogoyf's got to be huge. All right, so Primeval Titan, Scape Shift, a Remand and a Pyroclasm for Rusty, but he needs a land very badly here to try to hit that Primeval Titan, which can start to shore things up. The problem that he's going to face, though, is that right now Liliana can go up to 2, make him discard something. That's not the worst. He can discard that Pyroclasm or whatever. The problem is that it will then be at 2. And if he plays Primeval Titan, you know, I don't think he's running Dryad Arbor or anything like that.
Right.
So I think that that Liliana would be able to make him sack it.
But I mean, he could go get.
Can he? Does he have enough mountains?
No.
Not quite.
He only has 2 mountains in play, right? So like he can't get Valakut and.
Yeah, because that would be nice. Because then he could take out Liliana.
It could be that Joe plays another spell, like maybe that Huntmaster in his hand, and then Rusty remands it. He draws a Scape Shift and then draws a land off the top.
Okay. There you go.
Then Rusty can win.
Scape Shift hits the bin, and now Liliana of the Veil goes up. This is exactly what Joe wants from his deck. He's tearing apart Rusty's hand while applying pressure with Tarmogoyf. And things are looking pretty good for Joe here. I'm not sure how big that Goyf is, but it's probably like 5'6" or something.
Just a quick thing. I was reading through some of the old coverage of the last Grand Prix Kansas City, the one Luis won. And in that event, too, he started off the tournament with 2 losses and then won a bunch straight to win the event. So could be a still chance for him to have a repeat this tournament.
Yeah, that was him coming right off of the Pro Tour in Japan as well, where they played the kind of affinity
Tempered Steel
deck. Yeah.
So Secure Tribe Elder drawn.
Secure Tribe Elder, not the worst draw here.
I mean, I think that Rusty's still dead here, right? Because Liliana can -2.
Yeah,
and then
you're right. Yeah.
Tarmogoyf attacks in.
You are correct. And that's it. Rusty Kubis dropping a 6-1 here, but still in prime position for day 2. And if he can win out today, he'll put himself in a great spot to even make the top 8.